Hello YouTube. Today I'm going to be reviewing three number 2 pencils made by Staedtler. Staedtler is a very good company when it comes to pencils, and I'm sure with a lot of their other products, but I tend to focus on pencils because that I'm a graphic artist. And what I wanted to do is to give you a review of three of the number 2 pencils, the HB number 2 pencils that I happen to have in my collection. And I thought that this would be a useful review for anybody who is interested in knowing what the differences are between these three pencils. Of course, to start off with, they all three look different. This one here is the Staedtler Noris HB number 2, and as you can see that it has a nice yellow and black paint job on it. Now my pencils that you are seeing here are a little bit chewed up in that I use a sharpener that grips on real tight and it pokes these little holes, and I might do a review on sharpeners at another time. It's a great sharpener, but I just don't like the fact that they mark up pencils. So you have to spend a lot of money for one that has more of a rubber grip. Anyway, that's for another video. It's a beautiful pencil, and it's made in Germany, as it noted here. The other one is the Staedtler number 2 Rally pencil. It's an HB number 2 Rally from Staedtler. And this is, again, a very handsome pencil. This one here comes with the silver ferrule, and it has a white latex free eraser on it. The Noris here has a PVC and latex free, I don't know if you want to call this red or orange, but one of those rubber looking erasers, and the ferrule on here is slightly brass. And I think that matches really nice with the color of the paint. Then we have the Staedtler Norica HB number 2 pencil here. This is a completely matted black look here, and it has kind of a dull silver ferrule on here as opposed to the shinier one that's on the Rally. And again, this is a number 2 HB. So they're all three number 2 HB pencils. Okay, let's get on with the test. Alright, what you see here is I have created this test sheet, you might call it, and over here on the left is the Norica, or excuse me, the Noris HB number 2, and the one in the middle here was done with the Rally number 2, and then of course the Norica number 2. Now what I have done here is first I created these rectangles, and then before I started to shade and then do the alphabet twice on each one, and then of course write the pencil's name on the top, is I took this nice little device right here and I measured the pencil from sharpen point to eraser backing, or end I should say. And this thing here goes all the way down to 1/100th of an inch. It's very, very accurate. And so I measured each pencil before I used it. That way I can get a rating as to how quickly the pencil wears down as I was progressing through these various tests that we're going to cover. Now, the shading for the Noris HB number 2, it's a smooth shading, and it's clearly lighter than the other two pencils. Overall, of these three pencils, the Noris HB is a slightly lighter pencil, which makes me believe that it's slightly harder, and the measurements of the wear tends to confirm this. it wore down 4/100ths of an inch to do what you see here. These two pencils wore the same, which I thought was interesting because they felt different as I was using them. Here, the Rally and the Norica both wore down 1/100th of an inch more than the Noris. These were 5/100ths of an inch each, as it shows right up here. Now, that's where the similarities differ as far as these two pencils. While the Noris is clearly lighter than these two here, the Rally is slightly lighter than the Norica. The Norica ended up being the darker pencil overall. I found the Norica's ability to slide across the paper, the smooth gliding and so forth, I found it really, really comforting, very nice to the feel. You know, when you just move that pencil across paper, it has a really nice glide to it. That's what you want. It's not bad to have a little bit of a scratch feel, an abrasive feel. The softer the pencil is, it's usually likely that you're going to have that if it has some kind of material in there that allows for the graphite to just break off really easy. But between these two here, the Norica was smooth. It started off really dark, and I was able to go gradient to lighter without a problem. The Rally, I had a little bit of trouble going from dark to light, and it's hard to describe what kind of trouble, but it wasn't just as smooth for me to do that, but it was very good. It was still, they're all good. I would be happy with any pencil, I should say that. But this is the middle tone, so if you want to go by degrees, although they're all rated HB, they're not equal. This is the lighter one. This one is in between, this being the darker one. Okay, so the Rally falls in between the two pencils here. So as far as if you like a darker pencil, then you would want the Norica. If you're more interested in a pencil that will keep its point a little bit longer, then you would want the Noris pencil. If you are a person who likes to draw with your pencils, you are going to want either the Rally or the Norica. These two seem to be better for drawing because you can get the deeper tones and also go lighter. They all can go lighter, of course, as you take pressure off the pencil. This Noris may be better for writing if that's what you do 100% of the time. Personally, myself, I like to draw. And even when I'm writing, I kind of like my writing to be darker rather than lighter. I like the darker, and I don't mind sharpening once or twice more than I would with the other pencil for the life of the pencil in order to get those nice dark tones. But that's me. Down here, what I've done is I have shaded halfway across, flipped the pencil over, and shaded the rest of the way, because halfway through, of course, it would develop an edge, a sharp edge. Then you would flip it and then, of course, grind that down. And I did that the same for all three pencils. And then what I've done is I've used the 3 erasers on all 3 of the pencils that were used, pencil graphite. And that way I was able to get a feel for how the erasers did, and I judged them in 2 different ways. One is the actual feel. How did it feel as I was erasing? And 2, how well did it do the job? Now, you may not be able to see that really well on the video here, but the Norica erased the best. In other words, not that the eraser worked the best, but it came off the paper the best. And we would expect that because it's the lightest to begin with. These two being darker, there's a little more shadow left behind, and as you can see, it didn't matter which of the three erasers used, there was shadow left behind. If you were to go by how much shadow is left behind, the Norris came off the paper the best. It left a lot less shadow than the other two, and the Norica left more shadow, and it is the darker. So there's a trade-off there. If you use the darker pencil, no matter which one of these erasers we used, you're still going to have more of a shadow left behind. You're not going to get a complete erase in comparison to the lighter pencil, which is the Norris. And the Rally was in between. It's slightly darker than the Norris as far as the shadow, but it's slightly lighter than the Norica here. Now, the feel was interesting. When it came to the actual feel of the eraser on the paper, although the Rally and the Norica both have this latex-free white eraser on the tip, they didn't feel like they were the same exact eraser. They actually both felt different when erasing. The Rally felt scratchier or rougher. It gave the sensation as if it may be taking off a little bit of the paper as well. Although it didn't. It didn't do that. It didn't have the glide across the paper as the other two, the pink one and the white one of the Norica. Overall, the Norica's eraser was really nice. It just felt like it glided real smooth on the paper. So as far as the feel, I have to give it to the Norica first and foremost, but the Norris was a close second, or it could tie for first. It's a matter of preference, but they were both relatively, comparatively, I should say, they were smooth. The Rally, a little less than these two. It was a little more rougher. But as far as getting the job done, now we already know which one came off the best of the three, but which eraser actually did the best job. Well, they all seem to have worked equally on each of these, but the Rally, I have to give the Rally, and I gave a question mark here because it was so small, but it was slightly better in that it took off a little bit more here and slightly more here. So maybe that little roughness that it has in erasing is what gives it that really minor edge, but to me it's negligible. And then over here last is what I call the smear factor. I laid down the Norris and the Rally and the Norica and went as dark as I could in each one. Then I took a bamboo cloth, you might say, that I use for smearing or shading for my my art, and I smeared down with a clean portion of the cloth. For each one of these, I gave it a new clean so they all were equal, and then I smeared up. Whichever was residue after doing down, I went up. Looking at all three, surprisingly, they were equal. They all smear the same. Even though the Norica is a darker lead and the Norris is a lighter lead, all three smeared identical as far as my eyes can tell. So, I hope this review helps you in choosing a good HB number 2 Staedtler pencil. For myself personally, I tend to favor the Norica pencil, and I'm happy to say that it is also the least expensive pencil. The Norica pencil goes for anywhere around 16 to 36 cents each, depending on where you buy it. The Staedtler Rally goes for about 38 cents. And The Noris HB goes for $1.10. Yes, it is the most expensive pencil, and one of these will buy you 3 of any one of these 2 pencils here. So because these 2 here are darker, I tend to favor them because I like to draw as well as write. So I use them for both. So I prefer these 2 pencils over the Noris. And because the fact that I can get 3 of these for every one that I purchase these, they are a better value in my opinion. So there you go. Thank you for watching, and please give me a thumbs up if you happen to like this video.